So, Bitcoin maximalist Michael Saylor says that Ethereum could collapse like Luna. Let's go ahead and see why he thinks that. Now, to be clear, it says collapse like Luna, not collapse in the exact manner for the exact reason. And so let's go ahead and see why the comparison is being made. Ethereum has come under fire from Bitcoin maximalist and former CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, who has compared the network to Luna, which tragically collapsed in May of 2022. The effects of the collapse continue to haunt the broader crypto market, playing a role in the collapse of many notable crypto firms. Now, Saylor has pointed fingers at proof-of-stake networks like Ethereum as carrying a possibility of crashing like the infamous Terra. So what is really going on here? Because it's important to actually make this distinction as far as I can tell, and we'll see with exact quotes from Mr. Saylor here, but it sounds like he's pointing at proof of stake in general, not just Ethereum. And I do agree with him to a certain extent that proof of stake poses this particular risk in similar situations to Terra Luna compared to something that is proof of work. And so from that kind of, if we're taking a very high level view of cryptocurrency and looking at proof of work versus proof of stake and the capability of proof of stake basically collapsing versus proof of work collapsing, like something like Luna, I would tend to agree. Now, obviously, there's more technical things that go on in the background, and there is a lot going on with something like Cardano that sets it apart from other proof of stake coins. And there, of course, are the hybrid models that include both proof of stake and proof of work that would kind of set themselves apart potentially as well. And not everything is going to be like apples to apples, right? We have apples to oranges, etc. But, as Bitcoin is a nice juicy steak, I would say most of the proof of stake coins are apples and oranges. Maybe some cherries, maybe some avocado or just plain old onions. I don't know. There you go. Let's go ahead and see, though, some more details on this. It says, in a Twitter post, the MicroStrategy ex-CEO highlighted that Ethereum is at risk of seeing a Luna level event. The argument was basically a comparison of Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum, which Saylor believes are unstable. The tweet included a link to a YouTube video by Trader University that elaborated on the Ethereum blockchain and why there could be a problem with the proof of stake network. It highlights the fact that the Ethereum network depends on staked ETH to run, which at this point sees a lot of staked coins because there is no way to withdraw them. However, Matthew R. Crater, not really sure on the exact pronunciation of that, but it's Kratter, highlights that once the code to withdraw is available, and if the cryptocurrency prices falls further, then more users will be inclined to unstake their coins. And this is something we've been talking about on this channel for a very, very long time. Is it exactly like Terra Luna? No, because you have a completely different setup as far as the staking platform goes. But you don't have as centralized entities, right, participating with it. But where the centralization lies does matter. While it does matter, I should say, it still ends up at potentially the end goal, which is essentially once you have that unstaking happen, you tank the price of Ethereum as people start to basically liquidate all of their staked Ethereum. Now, the idea is that staking would be released in certain phases, right? Like maybe based on age of wallet, for example, where you would essentially have them release it little by little, or by some other method, maybe numbers or something along those lines. And then you would have basically a slow release of the Ethereum coming unstaked. That being said, I'm not really sure that is what's going to end up happening, because remember, what we had was the SEC kind of threaten this classification of Ethereum as a security and not a commodity. This brung up obviously some questions surrounding Ethereum, and then really where that basis came from, as stated by the SEC, was essentially going to be that it was due to the inability to unstake. So you were, by nature of purchasing Ethereum and staking it, investing in something that basically required the work of others. Why is that? Because you aren't able to unstake without the work of the devs being done. So the basis turned it into essentially a security, which by definition, that would make sense. So what happened after that, of course, like we talked about last week, is we ended up having this announcement of kind of the Shanghai upgrade happening, along with unstaking being released in June of 2023, which really accelerated that timeline, I think, to a certain extent. Even if it gets delayed from then, at least at this point, we have sort of a feeling out, a voting process, a next step, let's say, for Ethereum moving out of being locked, right? And that is essential in, I think, the case filings that will happen coming with the regulation of cryptocurrency coming down hard here after, of course, the FTX ordeal and, of course, the Terra Luna deal and whatever else is coming down the pipeline as far as negative news surrounding cryptocurrency. That regulation is going to be hitting hard. It does mean that if Ethereum wants to avoid this classification as a security, they are going to need to get staking, unstaking available. And that's kind of where I see it at right now. That does end up, of course, as pointed out here, end up translating into potential for a collapse in the price of Ethereum as it becomes unstaked. But, at the same time, we were kind of expecting a decoupling between the basically staked Ethereum, or STETH, which is a token representation of Ethereum that is staked, and Ethereum itself as the actual token. And that didn't really happen. It kind of happened here and there, but it didn't to a full extent, right? So is that, a reasonable expectation? Yes. Will it happen? That's yet to be seen. I can't make a prediction on that. There's a lot that goes on with Ethereum from, institutional investment wise that makes me think that there's too much money in it for it to actually fully on fail or go to zero. But then you look at something like FTX with $8.9 billion in liabilities somehow. But before that, an evaluation of $8 billion. And who actually knows, right? That's kind of the thing, is like, yes, FTX is by nature a centralized entity. It's not like Ethereum. Ethereum has a much better chance than FTX. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's hard for me to actually make a full-on prediction of whether or not, this is going to happen. I still think from a principled standpoint, proof of stake was a mistake for Ethereum. I think that not allowing people to unstake their Ethereum on the launch of proof of stake, Ethereum 2.0, was a tricky manipulation of the price of Ethereum. However, that's been going on for forever with Ethereum, right? Like, if we look at Ethereum, we know that EIP 1559 was an intentional burn to, falsely prop up the price of Ethereum and pull some out of circulation. We know that the inability to unstake is once again another way to falsely prop up the price of Ethereum and basically go into deflation. We know that this is basically price manipulation of Ethereum with pretty much all of the policies that have been implemented over the past couple of years on Ethereum. And to say otherwise, I think, would be completely ignorant at this point as we look at it and really pay attention to what's happening. So what I mean to say by that is, like, going to zero, no, but market manipulation, yes. And in what direction, it's hard to tell, because I do think that what we ended up with now is like in a spot where Ethereum was supposed to go up much higher than it actually did from, of course, the merge, and the expectations were much higher. And with unstaking coming in 2023, you do present an issue, especially with, of course, the global macroeconomic pressures, right, on just people in general, especially these stakers, even if they are larger institutional investors, puts a lot of selling pressure on Ethereum once it unlocks, and could drive, of course, that price down further. However, like I said, with that institutional investment, etc., you could see it go up, whatever. I'm just like every other dumb YouTuber that really can't tell you either way. These are just my thoughts, right, as we get through it. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions, of course, in the live chat and, of course, the comments down below in post. At the end of the video, Crowder then calls for regulators to look into proof-of-stake networks such as Cardano and Ethereum to determine if they are at risk of catastrophic implosions. This is in an effort to prevent another event like the Luna collapse. Saylor then compares the network to Bitcoin in his tweet, saying Bitcoin is engineered to be stable, robust, and increasingly secure and efficient over time based on proof-of-work and ASIC technology advances. In contrast, proof-of-stake protocols are inherently unstable, inefficient, opaque, and risky due to their fragile design, he added. And I think that obviously there are more robust and frankly more stable proof-of-stake networks than other proof-of-stake networks. So to paint a broad brush over it is, I think, a little unfair, especially if you look at something like I said, like Cardano, where you are able to easily stake and unstake, and everything on the protocol pretty much handles that. Of course, it's yet to be seen on Cardano with the amount of use that something like Ethereum has, to be fair. But I do agree in general that proof of work is a safer way to do that. And safe and slow, like my brisket, is what I prefer, personally. Michael Saylor has always been a vocal Bitcoin maximalist, preferring the pioneer cryptocurrency over all others in the space despite their performance. This is not the first time that Saylor has dissed Ethereum, but his most recent attempt has drawn the wrath of ETH supporters. One user points out MicroStrategy's Bitcoin investments, which were made under his leadership. At current prices, the company is experiencing unrealized losses on its Bitcoin holdings, whereby a similar investment in ETH would have resulted in a profit for the company, as well as passive income for the coins that were staked. And I think you would actually have to, I'd have to like analyze this a little bit more. You guys let me know if you did have a chance to look at this. But essentially they posted a chart. What if MicroStrategy had bought ETH in debt instead? And it does show, I guess, pretty much breaking even, it looks like here, a little bit above, and then Bitcoin down below. That being said, that story could change drastically in June if unstaking happens, right? So, tomato, tomato, right? You don't really know until the fat lady sings. And in crypto, the fat lady is far from singing at this point. Nevertheless, Saylor remains a staunch supporter of Bitcoin, and his Twitter page is evidence of this. One of his most recent tweets includes a picture of Bitcoin light bulb with the caption, "Bitcoin is eternal light." All right, so that is the wrap up and all my thoughts surrounding it. Is Ethereum Terra Luna? No, I don't think so, because you definitely don't have that stablecoin interaction too. You don't have your own stablecoin that you're backing with your own coin. It would be completely ridiculous to say that Ethereum is like Luna in any form or fashion, in my humble opinion. However, could Luna could Ethereum crash to zero? Technically, yes, but anything could. Bitcoin could as well. Is it more likely that Ethereum goes down further or experiences more losses than, say, something like Bitcoin? And the answer to that would be, let's see what happens when everybody is allowed to unstake and stake at will. And then I think we get a better idea of the future of Ethereum and how robust it can be and how secure it can be, right? Because the fact of the matter is, staking, or the amount staked, directly relates to the amount of security on the network. And then if you have a bunch of people unstake, you compromise the security of the network. And right now, we really don't have a good idea on what that number will actually be. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.